So, we recently learned that Billie Piper and Christopher Eccleston are reuniting once again to play the iconic characters of the Ninth Doctor and Rose Tyler together. For the first time in 20 years, they will be playing opposite each other, these iconic characters, and it is fantastic news. This is on audio drama, Big Finish specifically, but this is stuff I want to talk about because it is very exciting, but also I think it has, hints at what's the future in terms of the release schedule and the strategy of Big Finish might be, so we can talk about that as well. Let's talk about it. Hello, welcome to Culture Filter. I am the Fill-In Filter, and this is where I talk about all the geeky pop culture I like and consume, including a lot about Doctor Who. So if you love Doctor Who, please do hit that subscribe button down below for news, lore videos, reviews, and all that sort of thing. Now, the Ninth Doctor and Rose back together again after 20 years. Lots to talk about here, including, as I said, some hints maybe about what this means for the future of Big Finish's release strategy in terms of what they're doing, what they might be focusing on, what doctors they might be focusing on going forwards. We'll talk about all that later, but let's first of all deal with the news itself. So, this got released as I'm recording yesterday. We are getting a brand new series of audios, 12 in total, 12 stories released every other month, of stories featuring the Ninth Doctor and Rose Tyler as portrayed by Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper. Now, brief bit of history. Christopher Eccleston's been back playing the Ninth Doctor on Big Finish audios for a little while now, at least a few years at least. I can't remember when the first one came out, but it was a few years ago. I've been buying most of them. I haven't bought every single one, but I bought the first 4 and a few since then, where they've got returning characters, or my friend Adam Martin played a companion in 2 of them, so that was exciting. I've been buying them. I've been listening to them, at least, and it was kind of inevitable that they would eventually get around to doing Big Finish stories featuring the Ninth Doctor and Rose, because all of his stories so far, and he's had, it's about 12 box sets, I think, so far, have all been set in that time before he met Rose. So between regenerating from John Hurt's War Doctor to that first meeting in the episode Rose at the beginning of the Revival series, these all kind of fit in there, in that what was a bigger gap than we may have first thought. But this is the first time we are getting actually audios, full cast audios at least, set in Series 1 and with the original actors. And like I said, it's kind of inevitable. Chris has been doing the Big Finish for a while. This isn't Billie Piper's first run at stuff with Big Finish either. Many years ago, she did a box set with David Tennant as well. So, both were clearly up for doing audios. So, hey, it was inevitable they were going to come together and eventually do a box set or something together, and they have, and it is the most fitting time to do it because it is the 20th anniversary this year of that debut of them in the Revival in 2005, so it's the perfect time to do it. In terms of the format this is taking, I think this also contributes to hinting at what the future strategy of Big Finish might be, because there are some changes, there are some things that tie into other series that might indicate where they're going in terms of a direction, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But what they are doing here is they are releasing 12 different stories, each in single CD release, and so they're moving away from the box sets, and they're spreading these 12 things out over 2 years. So every other month we're getting a brand new Ninth Doctor series story for 2 years. Now, this is the same strategy they are employing with the 13th Doctor releases, where they are also doing 12 stories, or have announced 12 stories over 2 years every other month. And what they're doing is they are alternating Doctors here. So one month you will get a 13th Doctor story, the next month you will get a 9th Doctor story. You can, of course, pre-order all of these now, and if you pre-order them as a bundle, you get a bit of a discount. So if you want to pre-order all 12, I think they're available for £100, I think it is, £102 if you go for the download only option, and £126 if you want the CD as well. Or if you want to buy them on an individual basis, they start from £9.99 per individual story. I'm guessing that's for the download only. The CD will probably be a few pounds more than that, maybe £12.99 or something like that. And this all kicks off in August. 2025. So that's kind of the news. Now let's get on to the speculation. First of all, about this series itself. Will these take place in just like one bit of their timeline together, or will they be spread out throughout the series? That's a question. The only quote we've got on this is from producer Matt Fitton, who says across 12 episodes, slotting neatly into that 2005 series. Now, does that mean they slot neatly in one place in that 2005 series, or across the whole of the series? Maybe we'll get a story, each story will be set between 2 TV episodes, perhaps. I don't know, which would you prefer? Let me know. Would you prefer it all to be concentrated in one area of the timeline together, or spread out? In terms of the stories we're going to get, we know nothing yet, but I would say we're probably not going to get any Dalek stories, simply because the Dalek stories in Series 1 kind of don't leave room for that. You've got Dalek, where Rose first meets the Daleks, and then you kind of got nothing until the series finale, when they are surprised the Daleks still exist because they thought the last one had died in Dalek. So if you have a Dalek story set in between that, kind of doesn't make any sense. Now I know there are people out there, some of them my friends, who argue that that shouldn't matter and a good story is a good story and therefore you should include the Daleks. But hey, if a good story is a good story, you should be able to have a good story without Daleks. There's no reason to include them. Like, if they do, and it's a really powerful story, all I'm saying is, if they do, it better be worth it. If it is, I might be able to let it slide, but I'd prefer them to just steer clear and do something new and fresh and interesting. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, in terms of what this tells us about the strategy of Big Finish going forward in terms of their releases, I think there are a couple of different things. First of all, relating to which Doctors they're going to focus on, and also the kind of releases they're going to give us. In fact, let's do that in reverse order. The kind of releases they're going to give us to. They seem to be moving away from box sets, and this is a trend that's been happening over the last couple of years. Things like Sontaran versus Rutan series was originally conceived of as a box set, but then eventually decided to release as separate things. You've got the Dark Gallifrey series, which is releasing as separate things instead of box sets. You've got the 13th Doctor already announced to release in a similar schedule to this. So they seem to be moving away from box sets, which I don't mind. It makes it easier to fit things on the shelves if they're individual releases. It also means that one thing I don't like is where you get a box set where it's got a different story from each Doctor, and I can't put them in Doctor chronological order on my shelf then, because it's stuck with them all together. Plus, there's the cost implication. Box sets are getting more and more expensive. They're more expensive than they used to be, and they now tend to have one less story in than they used to be, so the value of box sets is getting less and less. I think this just kind of makes it more affordable in the long run for people that want to dip in and out, maybe not buy everything, but want to buy a story here and there. It allows them to do that more affordably. So I think it's on the whole a good thing. And the other thing that it kind of hints at, and I've seen people talk about this on Twitter and Blue Sky and places, is that in terms of the Doctors, the Big Finish sort of primarily are going to focus on going forward, because it's, you can't escape the fact that Sylvester and Colin particularly, who have been, two of the mainstays of the releases of Doctor Who for the last 25 years on Big Finish, they're not getting any younger, and Tom particularly isn't going to really be able to record anymore. And then you've got Peter Davison, who, again, he's not quite, he's kind of sort of in the middle in terms of the ages, but, eventually he's going to get to a point where he is going to want to record less. So I kind of feel that they might be phasing out those classic Doctors, and instead they're bringing in these new ones. So we've got loads of new Rangers that are starting with the actors that have been involved. I don't think we'll get too many more with David Tennant because he's a very busy man. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure when he does have time he will do some, but lockdown was when they got the bulk of him recorded. But we do have Christopher Eccleston now. We've got the 13th Doctor with her series. We've got the Fugitive Doctor with her series. And then I think they will continue with the heavy emphasis on the 8th Doctor as well. So I think those 4 Doctors you're going to see them be the bulk of the Doctor releases going forward for Big Finish for the next sort of maybe 5 to 10 years. And and they'll be sort of gradually phasing out or lessening the classic Doctors up to 7. I may be completely wrong on that. I have no inside information here. This is just speculation. Let me know if you think it'll be right as well. But I think that's probably where the future of Big Finish is looking at the moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So that's the news. What do you think of it? Are you excited about this new era of Big Finish and new era for the Ninth Doctor reuniting with his companion from the television? Let me know everything in the comments below, and I'll be back for more Doctor Who videos soon. Thank you and goodbye.